Welcome to the buy list. This is episode 53.
Ted has to throw cards again, and this is not financial advice.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Direct hit.
direct
Second try,
hits.
Nate.
Second try. Was there first?
Yeah, last week. Because now it's 2 weeks in a row you have a broken camera.
So Ted was like, right after the pod, he was like, hey, order a camera. I was like, on it. And then I proceeded to immediately forget to order a camera, which is just on brand for me.
Yeah.
So, but what's up, Ted? How was your week?
My week was good. It was more UPF filled fun. Had to travel during my locals, so I didn't do an armory this week. But I busted out chain and UPF and tried to Warmonger's refrain into drowning dire people to death at the end of the game. Turns out Teklovossen, that deck tech long ago that I pulled this deck from was before Teklo was a thing. So pretty tough to beat a Teklo with 8 dominate over and over again. So, but it was a lot of fun. People were very confused what I was doing because I was running yellow sinks and yellow fates in my deck. We were just blocking, man. So that was fun. But you do anything good, Nate?
No. I've been reorganizing my collection, so I had everything done by set, which I realize now was a poor life decision. So like we crack our set and then I just like basically like sort it like card 1 to whatever the set number was. But it's a pain in the actual rear end to build decks. Because then you have to, I'm like, okay, I got to go to Monarch to get like pulping out. And then I got to go to Everfest to get my Bear Fangs and Wild Rides. And then I got to go to WTR to go get my Blood Rush Bellow. And it's like you're going through 7 sets to get all your cards.
Wait, so you're going full class sort?
Yes. So I'm going to go.
I don't know how I feel about
I'm
this.
swapping it. I can't. I already struggle to build decks. Like I will like literally text my buddy and be like, hey, do you have a deck I can play at the armory? He's like, I do. And I was like, great. I'm just going to show up and pick one of your decks to play half the time. Or I'll just take the same, like, I literally still have Leviah built. I was playing Leviah in November, and I just haven't unsleeved the deck yet. And I'm too lazy to build another deck to play local.
Bro, I've done that. I'm looking at a stack of cards that are still sleeved that are old him, actually.
Yep.
I got an old him deck here that I've just peeled out like the E-strikes and stuff from like Worlds 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm awful.
Oh, 100%. I have an old him deck sitting somewhere in my office. I don't know where it is, but I know it's there because every time I'm looking for cards, I'm like, where is that fucking card? And I'm like, oh wait, I still have an old him deck.
Yeah. I lost my E-strikes, and that's where I was just like, where'd they go? Where'd my non-foil E-strikes go? And then I was just like, wait. And then I had to go find the deck box, and I was like, here it is with all the armor and everything. I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. Yep. But Nate, so right after we recorded right after we recorded last week, we got some like, I'm going to call them real spoilers. And by that, I mean spoilers that we can like understand, because the actual spoilers of the actual set are confusing and we don't know what's going on, and we can try to talk about them, but we decided just not to.
No.
And I think that's best until we see more of the set. Yeah, my brain has not enough wrinkles to try to figure that out.
0. Yeah, both of us. Too few wrinkles, too little time.
Between. Yeah. So we got 3 spoilers that I think are worth talking about. We got 2 expansion slot spoilers, and then we got a promo, which is a generic attack. Let's start with the expansion slot cards. First one up, Visit the Goldmane Estate. This is a blue, cost 1, blocks for 3. It's a Victor specialization, and it says create a gold token. Then if you control 3 or more gold, create that many might tokens, go again. Yeah.
Where Codex of Frailty? Where? Oh, sorry. Goldmane Estate. Where? wait. That's I can already see the community week one after that card drops when Victor draws a stupid card, creates 3 mites, and then sends like freaking uh Golden Sun, and then the following turn just throws like a big old
Yeah.
CNC or something stupid.
Yeah, if you're a subscriber to the channel, you've probably already watched my last deep dive video, quick 10-minute videos that I do. And yeah, I we talked a little bit about Victor's kit and to watch those Majestics and his shield because yeah, this card's strong, dude.
Oh, it's a slapper. I do think like this really makes Prime the Fight like a lot better of a card.
Oh, yeah.
It just Prime the
Yup.
Prime the Fight is like a very so one of the reasons I didn't play Dorinthia at Pro Tour was because we started testing into this like really greedy Victor deck. But it was running Prime the Fight because Prime the Fight's just like a very naturally greedy card. And our deck just didn't have
Yeah.
any cards that had attack power in it. So every trounce basically just turned into a 2-card 11. And it was just like nothing beats this.
Yeah.
So like the more that the deck can like regularly just like have 2-card 11s, turns out probably pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so when this card dropped, I was just like, yeah, okay, you get a gold off of this, you draw a card, but then to get like max value, you have to have 3 gold, right? So, and then it like hit me that the shield is a gold, and I was like, oh, it is not hard to just have a gold with Victor, and then you're like off to the races. Like you get the 3 right off the bat.
If you start Crown
It's
of
like,
Dominion, you
okay.
literally play this card and then immediately have like you can go turn 0, play, create a might token, create 3 might tokens, gold, draw a card. Oh, look at I drew a second one. All right, create 4 might tokens, draw a card. And it's just like the person
Yeah,
sitting across from you is like, did this brother just play
this is
Cast Bones?
this is gonna hurt some people. Like this is gonna reach out and touch some people, and they're gonna be real mad about it.
Yep.
Like week 2 or 3 after Mistveil drops, this is gonna cause some rumblings. I
Oh
think.
yeah, if you thought freaking Codex of Frailty got people's panties in a bunch, wait until
Yeah,
Codex of Frailty all of a sudden drew a card and then threw a Spinal Crush. Like they ain't gonna be too
yeah,
happy.
yeah. So yeah, I would suggest going looking at my last deep dive video, and then also just keeping an eye on Victor because I think this will make him. He's already like on the cusp. I expect him to win like a decent amount of Pro Quest this season. Like I think he'll do all right. I don't think he'll be like the most winning deck or anything like that, but like I think he's
He's,
he's showing
he's
up.
already strong and he's
But
getting he's this is basically
this
his like Tome of Imperial Flame, like
yeah, this will cement him as a meta
Meta
deck,
Slapper.
like 100%.
Oh,
Okay, so let's jump on to let's talk about the next one here. So this is Visit the Golden Anvil. It's a blue, cost 0. It's Olympia specialization, and it's that fabled gold payoff that we were told about right after Heavy Hitters came
yep.
out. And it says it blocks for 3, but then the text say, as an additional cost to play this, destroy X gold you control. Equip X weapons and or equipment from your inventory.
So this card is like a lot harder to like just evaluate kind of on its face, but
Yeah.
as a whole, still like I think it's a very powerful card. It's just not like face up like you read it and it's like, damn girl. Like
Yeah.
it's like, okay, that seems good.
Hmm.
Brain too small, but seems good. Like where I think this card will be like really powerful is like you can now run 3 prized Galeas. And basically each
Yeah.
the first prize Galea buys the next 2 prized Galeas. Uh,
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
and then if you have like a strong enough and like linear enough, like aggressive, like 60, you can just load up with like, you run the Iron Song bracers. What is it? Iron Song versus? Yeah.
Versus yeah,
So that blows up
Jesus,
and you
dude.
buy,
You threw me for a
Yeah.
loop. I was like, "What are you on? You on drugs?"
um, like
Yeah, you run versus, which is breaks, and then
yeah,
you throw on Brave Forge
throw on Brave
bracers,
Forge
which is battle
bracers. Yep,
one.
and then you can do the chest piece for you can do like Courage of Blade Hold. So you get basically like
Yeah.
you can just, if you have an agility token, swing your two swords for free that turn.
Hmm.
And then you can run like refraction bolters, and then you can swap into dynamos, and you can swap the chests and the grains, and you can also
Yeah.
run pairing blades, which block and explode. And then you can put um, you can equip your weapons, so you can equip sabers
Yeah.
or hatchets or whatever.
Yeah. The arm slot is like one of the more interesting ones, right? To me, it's like, oh man, that's kind of nice. You can get a little extra armor, and then parry blade, I think too, is like kind of the fun. Like, I don't know if it's gonna work. Like you said, this one's hard to like. Some warrior dudes are gonna have to like figure this out and figure out how much sideboard slots they have and stuff. But I think parry blade is very interesting, right? So you can just like keep parrying throughout the
Yep.
game like three times,
Yep.
and then like that becomes six. Yeah, it blocks for two each time against the weapon, so it blocks for six throughout. You could block for six for 3 gold over the or no, for 2 gold because you replace it
Yes.
twice, right? But yeah, so there's some interesting stuff here, and it's kind of a fun. I'm excited to see what comes out of Olympia with this card, right? Because I think it could be like a really fun warrior build where he just keeps re-equipping armor, and you're like, dude, like trying to take you out here,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and he's just like, nope. Now I have Brave Forge bracers. It's just like you shatter the first sword, and then he just like gets another one off of his back, starts hitting you with that one. You're like, dude, come on.
Yeah, definitely be interesting. I think yeah, Warrior Bros are gonna have to figure that one out and show us the way on it, because it's not like abundantly clear
Hmm.
right from the surface. But that's definitely one that, like, it's also gonna be one of those cards that all of a sudden it's like, oh, and that card's broken, and people are just gonna like scoop it up like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. So the last one we got, this is actually a promo reveal, Nate.
Hmm.
I believe for Warsaw.
Yep.
Maybe not, but yeah, I think it was Battle and Warsaw. So this one is a generic attack. It's called Battlefront Bastion. It comes in a cycle,
Hmm.
and it says when this, it's a three. The red is a 3 cost. Well, they're all 3 cost, but red is 3 cost 7 attack power. So your typical 3 for 7.
Hmm.
It blocks for 2, but the text says when this defends alone, prevent the next 1 damage that you would be dealt this turn,
Yes.
which is kind of a cool effect. It doesn't like you have to sit down and think about it for a second, and you're like, oh, that's kind of fun, right? It's a neat way of shaking things up a bit.
Yeah. It's it is pretty much a prism card, almost exclusively.
Hmm.
Um, but nonetheless, it's still very good for Prism. I think you kind of like see, like, I think LSS initially was very concerned about Prism, and I am a little concerned about Prism myself, because it is a very powerful deck. I've been playing a lot
Yeah.
of it, and I think it can lead to a lot of very unenjoyable play experiences. So
Wait, Spectra unfun to play against?
yeah, I know, right? It's the where's my shocked
Who would
Pikachu
have
face?
thought?
Yeah. Um,
I just love that. Like, oh, this is going to be a sidebar, but it's been a fun experience for me, and this is not like me like pat myself on the back, but I don't know if you've noticed this, Nate, but it kind of makes me realize how much the game's grown. Is that there's like a lot of people, even like locally and then on the internet and stuff, that are just like, well, yeah, but you're a Room Blade player. Just activate creepers and move on with your life. And I'm like, like, that's not how that works, guys. And they're like you just said, shocked Pikachu face. I'm like, no, that's how rough Spectre is, guys.
yeah.
Listen to your grandpappy Ted. he lived during, he lived the days versus Prism. I know my way around Spectra.
Yeah.
Sit down, let me tell you a story,
Yeah.
son, about how Creepers does not
Yeah,
work.
I think people are real because like no one's really played Prism all that much, but I think people are
Yeah.
really about to be in for a rude awakening because it is a very powerful thing. I was playing a test game against my boy Andrew last night, and I drew I think 8 cards, and I had 6 in hand, and I had already attacked him with Soraya,
Jeez.
and he's like, "Wait, how many cards do you?" And he's like, and I still had like 1 or 2 resources floating too, and he was just like, and I double arc lighted him that turn. So I was just like, attack with
Oh.
Soraya, attack with Wartune Herald, play 2 Arclight Sentinels. So I played 2 Arclight Sentinels and attacked him for 10 damage, which he took all of it because he was worried about what was coming next. Because he knew there was
Oh
1
my
Arclight,
god.
but he didn't know there was 2. And like
Yeah, just double time
just
lock. It's just like, see you
yeah, so
later.
then it's like you're just like, all right, I killed this one, and it's like, okay, now I hope you don't do it again. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that
I'm gonna
again.
do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's quite the character. Thankfully she starts at 32 this time around. Um
Yes.
but yeah, we'll see. I mean,
I argue
like you said, I
she might have needed to start lower.
bro, we're like 9 months later, man, and everyone's just like Prism sucks 9 months ago, and now it's just like, wait, hold on,
Yep.
not like this.
Yep.
Ellis is like, this is what you asked for.
Yeah, you guys thought she was
Here's
bad,
here's
but hold my
here's
beer. Yeah.
Numenara's. Good luck.
Yep.
We're tired of hearing you guys complain,
Yeah.
which then we just complain even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Battlefront Bastion. I think this card's really interesting. It's like, it's obviously like Tiger Ping stuff, you know, like you can block 2 tigers. You know what I mean? Like you can set up like, oh, okay, well, prevent the next one damage. But then also, like you said, Prism card, it works in that instance as well, which is nice. And I think it's just cool to keep seeing fun new ways for generics to do interesting things.
Yes. Yes. I
So
agree. I think it's basically just a prison popper though.
yeah, yeah, probably.
Might not be
Okay,
nearly enough of
so
that, but all right. Now what are we talking about, Ted? What are we diving into next?
I think we wanted to talk a little bit about Outsiders and kind of where that stands, because it's um I've been kind of talking about certain cards in that set, the last month or so on the
Mm-hmm.
channel. We haven't really talked about, and I guess this podcast gives us the ability to like dive into kind of some thought process behind that and stuff. So it's an interesting set because it houses both ninja and assassin within it,
Mm-hmm.
and then it also has hybrid cards. And now that we're seeing a new ninja and assassin set, it's smart to go back and look at Outsiders.
Yeah. Um, I think, and there's just like a lot of like, everyone's been like, yeah, the set's kind of propped up by Codex and like pre-med, um, which it definitely has been, but like,
Yeah.
um, it has definitely just been kind of like a forgotten set. But
Hmm.
like the Outsiders was, it's funny. You hear like other people like be like, oh, they like there hasn't really been a powerful set in like a really long time. Basically, Uprising was like the last powerful set, but like I don't think people gave Outsiders enough credit. Like that set was an absolute house. In terms of like delivering just like powerful things, has Codex, has pre-med, gave Katsu all of the power that people complain about Katsu with today was like built
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
Outsiders. Um,
It's true. Yeah.
so like because the set's just kind of been forgotten and because the value in the set has been like solely tied to one card for so long, no one's really opened it because it's way too much of a gamble. So
Yeah. And assassins have been like in and out of the meta. Azuri kind of came into favor to attack Lexi, but then instantly fell out as she LL'd, and Dromai got Tome of Imperial Flame, and then we I think we've talked about it maybe in the last episode or two where like Azuri is she might be on a come up here now that Dromai's gone. So there was like even a lot of the set was tampered down by just the meta a little bit,
yeah,
right? Where assassins aren't very strong. Dromai was kind of beating up on them. Now we kind of see kind of a twofold thing, a twofold event happening where Dromai, one of the worst Azuri matches, leaving, and a new assassin coming to the group. So that's pushing some things around. I think we were pre-show. We were talking, like you said, the codexes. Even Codex of Blood Rot, right? That card has recently seen some movement,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's it's a pretty good Yuzuri card. So like if you expect new to be able to use it, like it's a it's just it's a good card in and of itself. Like it gets
yeah,
you roughly 5 value if you consider the ponder at 3 and the blood rod at 2. Um, it's like it's a relatively strong card. It's just nice to be like a lot of people playing into Yuzuri specifically will just like forego arsenaling and just try to like play efficient hands to like turn off 6 of their disruption effects. And
hmm
Codex of Blood Rat just says like, hey,
no,
how about you put something in there and I'll make you do it. Um,
yeah,
so it's a pretty good card. And I think like looking at the marvels of all of those,
mm.
um, I remember our Outsiders break. That was our first break that we did.
yeah, yeah,
We did 100 boxes. We pulled 2 codexes. And
yeah,
most people and like the prevailing wisdom was like, it's 50 to 60 boxes to hit one.
yeah.
Um, so like these cards are insanely rare and didn't really. I always thought they didn't really get the respect they deserved for being like one absolutely stunning pieces of art. Um, which it's still
Yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
it's weird to me. We've talked about this like offline a bit. I don't know if we've ever brought it onto the show, but I just like it was a very rare thing to see him at events, which I found very curious because I like the look to them, but I can also see why like maybe people weren't super high on them. Like it seemed positive when it came out, and I think they're cool and they'll age well.
Yeah,
But they just didn't seem like the play like the maybe you know what, maybe it was like everyone that was playing Lexi was just like, yeah, we're here for a short time, not we're here for a good time, not a long time. Like everyone kind of knew that it's just like, yeah, this deck is definitely getting banned or LL'd instant, in a very short period of time. So maybe that hurt like the collectability and like because I think we've talked about this before where Fab is very much a I'm this player. Like I try to, room blades are my thing, right? It's just like, but a lot of the a lot of the players are like that. And I think it missed the mark a bit because everyone knew Lexi was kind of just this like flash in the pan deck.
I don't know if it was like so much like kind of like. I mean, she was around for a long time. And she
She
had
was, but
and she
like
had no LL
also,
points before she got good. I don't think people. I like
yeah.
me like I
That's why she was around for a long time, is because she was at like 50 and like literally speed run to 1,000.
I mean, she was the best deck from
Baltimore
basically Baltimore to PQ
to
season
uh,
before Worlds, so like September. So she was the best deck for
mhm.
6 months. She was
Yeah.
just like oppressively the best deck.
Yeah.
And like, so I think there's probably like some merit to that argument, but I I wonder if it just comes down to like um the player, like the class themselves. Like, I don't know, Ranger doesn't seem like a very flashy class that like bling, like.
Yeah. Now, assassins, can see running marbles, right? I think assassins are more of that blingy. Um, Also, too, Nate, it might have just been that frailty, like never went under 300 bucks. Like,
Yes, that, yeah.
like it's like the $900 to get the three frailties in your deck was probably also a pretty steep
Yeah.
ask. And then the other two weren't playable, right? They definitely are playable. I think both Inertia and Blood Rot will see a spot in the near future in a deck, like maybe Azuri, like you said, maybe new. Um, they're not bad cards. They're just not hyper broken, like
Yes.
or super powerful, like Frailty, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. The other two cards need decks to be kind of built around them. Blood
Yeah.
Rot far less so than Inertia, but Frailty is
Hmm.
like, there's it might as well just say generic on it. It's gonna go in whatever class has access to that card would just play that card. Um, so
Yep.
I'm not surprised to see those spike. And um, I mean, the set as a whole, and when we first, I mean, this is the first set that we even started really talking about as a channel.
Hmm.
So this is kind of like a little near and dear to our heart. But like looking at it, like the Majestics are really starting to pop off. Like Dishonor,
Hmm.
Down and Dirty, Concealed Blade, Shakedown,
Yep.
Infiltrate, Amnesia, Codex of Blood Rot. All the codexes pre-med. Um, this set just has a lot of really good Majestics in it.
Yeah.
And I even think of like a card like Burdens of the Past, which has no love right now, but that card has the potential to be like
Yeah.
very good. Blue block 3 says F you to D reacts, and some could draw a card into like a defensive deck. Um,
Yeah.
Quite good. We have Give and Take, which I still haven't talked about. Spreading Plague. Um,
Yeah.
Lots of.
I guess this is a good point. This might be a good time to point out too. Is like as we're talking through this list, the little news for the channel too is that we're both using Findel's collection,
Mhm.
and we are affiliates with Findel's collection. I've been using them for a couple months now. Really like their product. The guys that run it are very receptive to new ideas and updates to their website, and they have a really great feature for premium members. They have it unlocks an EV tracker and then also a market trend tab, and that's kind of what I've been using for months now, and kind of what Nate and I are looking through right now, and just picking out these outsider cards because it gives you percent gain over an X amount of time,
Mhm.
7 days, 2 weeks, things like that. So if that sounds like something that would interest you, head over to findelscollection.com. Use the promo code TCG10. Get you your first month of premium for free, and you can check out all the premium features for a month, and then you can decide if you want to keep going or not.
Yeah. Ted would not let me make the promo code Dromai is unplayable. Lol. So we're just gonna have to use TCG Ted. Unlucky. Um,
Yeah.
but like, look, I mean, if you using Fendel's collection, shout out to them. Like if you look at the expected value of Outsiders, it's gone up $40 over the past month.
Hmm.
But most of that is off the back of all those Majestics that I just said. All of those are pretty much over $5 besides Burden of the Past. Um,
Yeah.
and then like a lot of those cards are like over 10 now. So like Dishonor's 15, Concealed Blades 11, Down and
Hmm.
Dirty's 16. Like the issue with this set is actually just something that we harped on as a channel for a long time. The legendaries are doo-doo burgers.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a dud, the dud era of L's in Fab, really, to be honest. So it makes it a pretty tough open. Um, and like as much there is like I think we're getting to a point where the Majestics are starting to push that EV up.
Yep.
But for a long time there was some, and we can't forget either, Nate, is that this was like a experimental set. I believe what were you at? You were at like 4 or 5 Majestics a box.
So yeah, this is the
Um,
first set that they converted the pull rates from like six non-foil Majestics per box to like 4. So the
yeah, 4 was like more common.
4 was because I mean we went from like Dynasty and Uprising that were like roughly 6 per box for non-foil Majestics, and then this one was 4.
Yeah.
It was 4 every single box, sometimes 5 and sometimes 3, but
Hmm.
it was pretty on track to always be 4. Um, but they, I think they tried to listen to the community that was um, maybe. Oh, this is what I'll rant about. We're doing
You gotta hold
hold the rant.
let's
All
wrap,
right,
yeah, let's wrap this topic up. But I
yeah,
think I think what you're trying to say is, or what we're trying to get at here is that unfortunately, with the L's being kind of just being on a rough spot still, right? You have Redback Shroud, which is just like not played. Trench is like sure Riptide uses it, but it's pretty situational. Um, yeah, you're gonna have to help me because I can't even think of the. Oh, I mean, like Flick Knives again is like situational, but pretty decent, right? Maybe that's more of the like one of the more solid ones in that set,
Flick
and
Knives is the best one. Then we have
and
Van
we
Brace.
yeah, Fanbrace just is like a tech piece that doesn't really need is just really not used right now, right? It will be in the future at some point, but it's just not.
I don't know that it will be.
So
It kind of sucks.
yeah, opening this set is like you just can't do it. Or like it's just a hard open right now. And now all these good cards in here, and then heaven forbid if like new or Zen is just like, yeah, you play this card 3 of, you know, any Majestic in the set, that's going through the moon. Because it's just there's light inventory all over the place when you look on TCG Player for Outsiders.
Well, the other issue was that they increased the legendary pull rate, and the other legendary was Quiver of Abysmal Depths. Um,
Oh yeah, that thing.
so they increased the pull rate on legendaries, and only had 5 legendaries. So it was very common to have like 2 legendaries per case, sometimes 3,
Yeah.
and there was only 5 of them, and they all are not good. So like, yeah, you look at like
Yeah, it was.
now it's like you're getting 1 legendary per case. Sometimes you get skunked. It's rare, but sometimes you get skunked on it.
Yeah.
But there's like 6 of them, and they're all very powerful. So, um,
Yeah. Thank you, heavy hitters, for coming full
just being
circle.
an absolute slapstick.
Yeah, dude, it's so good.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, I think it's fun to do a retrospective on an old set, right? Especially as we're coming into these classes being released in the next set. Um, yeah, take a look. If you're looking for some cards, just keep an eye on it, right? We do see outsiders moving, right?
Hmm.
So
It's definitely been
it's
moving
just
up.
worth
That's for
worth
sure.
noting, right? For sure.
Yeah. So,
Are we gonna get into the new segment now,
can
Nate?
we? Yeah. Well, can we go? Can we go back to the Dromai being unplayable thing? Um,
Yes.
Great. So Dromai officially unplayable. I was always right. Um, I'll put my
Uh,
Venmo in the description so you guys can
tits.
Venmo me money for being so smart and being correct. Um,
Oh my god.
because Dromai's unplayable. You're welcome. I told you guys all along. You guys didn't listen, but here we are now. Um,
Just get him on those semantics,
Got him. And as I do that, I'm like shuffling through my dragons as I'm talking about this, just all the dead dragons that I'll never see play again. Um,
Until they do see play
until they
again.
do see play again. That's right. So, I was. Did you link it in the chat that we're in? It was like right after Dromai won and LL basically. Um,
Yeah.
LSS basically posted an article stating like Dromai is like very integral to the greater Wraith story, and that she will be back
Yeah.
very soon.
Yeah. James White also mentioned it in the panel that he did with Brian Gottlieb at PT, that expect to see her. She's not gone. She'll be back. So I think they're very keenly aware of um, what's this kind of doing to people's collection right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like we talked last week about the armory decks. I think it. I think they very. I think they've come to a point of understanding of where uh, they understand that people's collections just can't go and like linger too long anymore. I think they probably hear a lot of complaints about that, especially when they bling out like a hero like Dromai. So I think the dragons will be back. We kind of looked through them. I don't know if we have to belabor this point too much, but we look through the prices. Oh boy, they've definitely come down. A lot of the dragons are sitting, just above $10 each
Yeah.
right
Yep.
now, and yeah, I think if those go under 10, that's like it'll be hard for me not to pick up like a playset, right? I own one of
Yep.
each. And if they're like $8 a piece, Nate, I think I'm just buying two of every, like two more of each one, and then just being like, I'll put this away for a rainy day.
Yeah. Yep. And one of the things that like I want to do um, soon here is like kind of do like a retrospective on just like the path of Dromai in her LL status.
Mm-hmm.
And what that kind of did to these, because I do expect like Dromai will be back, and
Yeah,
as soon as they announce that, cleared
yeah,
TCG player, I think it might crash the site. Like their site might explode because people will
yeah,
immediately try to go get all their Marvel dragons back. But like
yeah,
I remember Guy Cohen, famous Dromai player, never actually spoken to him. But I was I was talking to Hamel and Raj. Shout out Raj. I'm sure he does not listen at all. But I was talking to Raj and Hamel, and all of a sudden Guy comes up and he's like, Hamel, do you want to buy Marvel Dragons after Dromai One Pro Tour? He's like, I don't need these anymore. You want to buy them? $300, they're
oh
yours.
no,
I mean, like he's
yeah,
probably off to bling his Yuzuri deck because I know he also
yeah,
plays Yuzuri. So like these players that like their bling bling, like they can't they
yeah,
can't have $1,000 tied up in a bunch of cards that are only
and dragons, yeah,
playable in an LL hero now. So, um, but as soon as that news comes out, I'm sure Gee's gonna be like, "Hey, Mel, can I get that back?"
I need to buy those. Can I buy those back?
Yeah,
And he'll be like, "Yup."
yup.
Yeah,
So,
you definitely can.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think everyone
just
should
like
kind of
keep an eye on
expect.
that opportunity. I think it's a kind of maybe the first time this has happened where we see like Marvels in a large set of Marvels like kind of go into LL status, and then possibly coming not right
Yeah,
back, but possibly coming back very quickly. So keep an eye. It's a good opportunity if you can take advantage of it, I think.
100%.
Mhm. All right, Nate. So now
New segment.
new segment
New
for
segment.
all we got to stay on brand. It's for all the people that made it to 40 minutes.
Which is
It's
just Brian and probably his dog and maybe his washing machine. Um, And I
Brian,
hope Brian
we're
listens to this part because he will laugh hysterically at the washing machine joke, and no one else knows what's happening. Um, so, all right, this is the segment
welcome to Nate Rants.
Nate Rants. All right, everyone needs to quit their bitching about cards being expensive. It doesn't matter. Like the Outsiders is like the perfect example of like legendaries were expensive. Everyone complained about legendaries being expensive, and then legendaries got so cheap, and then they complained about Codex of Frailty, and then they complained about Warmonger's recital, and then we got Bright Lights, and no one complained.
No one said anything.
No one said anything, but they complained about the set being bad.
Yeah.
LSS make expensive cards, and people will stop complaining about sets being bad because the cards will be so good. And I think they are definitely in that direction, right? Like Heavy Hitters was a banger. And I don't think I've heard a single person complain about anything yet. Balance of Justice is about to get out of control though, and people will start complaining.
Yeah, I've started to hear those rumbles.
And guess what?
This is not a healthy market. I was told.
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
what?
This is the problem with these people, Ted. Okay. Let's look across our borders. We look at Lorcana, where the price of a set that was released basically 9 months ago is back to $300 for like the fourth time.
Yeah.
Cards are expensive. And you know what? All those people are just happy to be playing their little game with their Mickey Mouses attacking the Peter Pans and the Tinkerbell throwing pixie dust on their goofies. All right. And then we look to our left and we see Star Wars Unlimited. I have no scars from what FFG has done to me in the past. But I
Nate, you are playing with fire here, bro.
Dude,
I might
listen. These people haven't been
I have
hurt
to
yet.
bite my tongue.
They're about to get hurt. Prices of that set that game just released. Prices are already over $200 a box. I got news for y'all. FFG doesn't know a broomstick from an asshole. You know what?
Yeah.
Because they're gonna fuck it up. So here's what
James White I trust.
Yes. Here's what's gonna happen.
Not so much.
This is why they call me the Oracle. Here's what's gonna happen. Boxes are $200.
Oh,
they're gonna say, "Oh man, all right, hurry, quick, print a little bit more." They're gonna like trickle more out. Set 2, there's not gonna be enough product again, and it might go up to $200. But then it'll continuously restock, and then set 3 will come along, and they will print so many boxes that children will be wearing them for shoes. FFG doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know how to manage a card game, and they destroyed one of the few things I loved, which was rolling dice in playing Star Wars.
This is a very charged. We slipped into a very charged topic, and Nate, I'm here to put up the bumpers and get you back into Fab.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Fab again. All right, sorry, back. How did I? Oh, that's right. We have the cheapest boxes in the We have the cheapest boxes out of any card game right now, and it's actually like probably a little bit to the detriment of Fab. But people still complain about prices, and to all the people who are about to complain about Balance of Justice being over $200, which it probably will be in the next, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, you should have bought the card when it was $80. You should have bought the card when it was $100. You probably should have bought the card when it was $120. But you have to take a step back and know that not everything is going to be free and cheap, and you have to look at it rationally. I was looking at the inventory.
That's what this whole channel's built on.
Yes.
We try to.
I did not sell any of my Balances of Justice from our initial box opening because $80 was too cheap for a powerful generic headpiece. And I was just watching the listings every week and seeing, okay, where's the movement going? Is this moving down or is this moving up? It was staying flat.
Dude, I think people just saw the reprint of. Well, I don't want to like blame people here, but I think
Oh,
it was
blame them,
like
Ted. Blame them,
the
Teddy.
Crown of Providence. I think Crown of Providence reprint being like the very previous. No, or just like we saw these reprints, right? We saw a Tunic reprint, we saw a Crown of Providence reprint, and those being like the best in that what you kind of de facto need to play Fab, right?
Yep.
Those sat at like 80. The reprints, the third reprint of Tunic. Let's remind people that it was the third reprint of Tunic, and it was the second reprint in 1 year of Crown of Providence,
Yep.
and it sat at $80. And then people, I keep saying that, but like then the players were
You
just like, well,
people.
then balance must be $80 too because Crown of Providence is $80. No, y'all messed up. Like it's not reprinted. This is the first time it's printed. So you can't complain when it goes to 150
Nope.
because that's what happens to good legendary generic cards.
Yes. You have to.
I mean, that's what I'm speculating here a bit, but like it just kind of hit me. I was like, wait, why was it $80? And I'm like, oh, because the Tunic was $80. Because Crown of Providence was $80. It's like, well, you're comparing apples to oranges.
Yep.
And now people are getting a little salty about it. And it's like, well, sorry, you can't be salty about it.
Nope. Price
Nate
memory.
and I were here beating that drum, being like, buy this card. You know what I did, Nate? I bought my cold foil Crown of Providence as soon as I could.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm getting the cold foil because I like a little bit of bling, and this card is going to be hyper rare because you told me on this channel while we sat here, just like we are right now, that you're like, dude, I think cold foils are really hard to pull in this set. And I was like, yo, give me a Crown of Providence. Now that card's $300.
Yep.
Literally doubled my money at the moment.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, this became Ted rants
Ted
real
rants.
quick.
Nate rants. Everybody rants. Who else wants to rant? Oh, we should have a call-in section where someone gets to call in and rant.
But you know, and I want to go back to something you said really quickly, and I think it might put a bow on this for both of us. Is that you mentioned you're like it might be to the detriment of Fab that we have the cheapest boxes, and like that sounds kind of that sounds wrong, right? Because you're like, well, if it's cheap, then you'll get more players. You know, it's if it's easier barrier to entry, and then that's why an expensive legendary is bad because you know it's cheap boxes but expensive cards, and it's like, no, Star Wars or like not even to name names, other card games are popular because people are excited to open them. And yes, they might be expensive. You might be talking about double MSRP, which is like, ugh, that hurts. But if you have a cool, fun thing to open that you get value back, and it's like, you know, always hitting that dopamine hit, you know, when you're opening cards, which I think Mistveil is gonna, it's gonna be nice. But that is what we're talking about. If you have hype around your boxes because there's cool and fun and expensive cards inside of them, that grows the game too.
100. I mean, like in all
Maybe in the best way,
reality,
right?
like if you look at like the most growth in Fab, it was the Monarch era. That was the fastest. Like Monarch and Tails was the
Yeah,
fastest the game
yeah, that's
ever
kind of
growed.
crazy to think, but you're right.
Grew. Jeez, I ranted so long. I
Gucci
actually
late.
had a brain injury. Freaking. But it was because like, wait, why is that game so expensive?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that going
And
on,
like,
right? You want some of
yeah,
that.
and like One Piece is the same way. Like One Piece has like crazy expensive things, and money catches eyeballs. At the end of the day, like I probably don't play Flesh and Blood if Monarch doesn't pump.
Yeah.
Like the only reason I like got back into Flesh and Blood was because my buddy was like, "Hey, did you ever buy any like of that stuff during COVID?" And I was like, "Yeah, about a couple bucks of Arcane Rising." He's like, "Dude, do you know how much like those cards are worth now?" I was like, "No clue." And
Yeah.
it was like, "Oh." My cold foils are worth $150. What? I paid
Yeah.
$62 for those boxes.
Hmm.
And then
Also, Nate, fun fact: why do both of us know the price of Lorcana boxes and Star Wars Unlimited boxes?
because every
Like legit, I only play Fab,
yep,
right? But why do I know that? Why do you know that? It's because we hear about it and we're like, oh shit,
like
what's
yeah,
happening?
what's happening over there? We're like our
Yeah,
eyeballs are there because that's what people are talking about at game stores. They're like, "Oh man, that's so crazy expensive." And the thing is, those prices aren't there because people aren't paying it. People are paying those prices.
yeah.
So like
Hmm.
I don't think there's like Lorcana players or like Star Wars Unlimited players who are like, "What was that? What was that part the Mistveil thing?" It's like,
Yeah,
I mean, you see big stores. I'm not going to name names, but you see big stores already trying to like basically like sell at map and give like discounts on top of it. And it's like,
yeah. Well, and like the mechanics of what we're talking about right now is, so a store looks at XTCG, right? And they say, I can sell this box for uh $50 over MSRP. Or I can buy some fab, which I can sell at like $10 over MSR, or not even MSRP,
at
right?
their
And
over
so
their
it's like,
cost, yeah.
yeah, over their
Yeah.
cost, right? And so that's the mechanism that gets people looking at it, right? Is if a store doesn't engage because their player base doesn't ask for it, right? I've seen this happen locally. um, and it's no fault of the store. I don't fault them. But if no one's asking for it, they'll just be like, "We'll put our money somewhere else. We'll put our money in Star Wars Unlimited. We'll put it in TG Fallout, because we're going to make money there." And then that gives them a reason to push those products. So we got to be careful about this is too expensive stuff a little bit, right?
Guess what? And the people who are crying that legendaries are too expensive, I bet they still won't pay $8 for a redback shroud.
Yeah, gee, I wonder why, Nate.
They ain't paying no $7 for a trench of sunken treasure. And they most certainly ain't gonna pay $60 for an Apex Bonebreaker. So
Yeah,
like why cater to them? They ain't spending it's like
yeah,
it's so I work in banking. And it's like if someone like walked into the bank and was like complaining about everything in the bank and was like, "Sir, do you even bank here?" "Nah, I bank somewhere else." And it's like,
yeah, yeah.
"Oh,
It's
okay.
like, come
So
on,
why
man,
why
what
are
are we
we
doing
why are we
here?
why are we catering to you? Why are we trying to like make you
Yeah.
happy?" Uh, like
I mean, I'm sure there's some of that, but like I get it, right? There's sticker shock, but like I just want to, I think what we're trying to say is like we got to be careful about this, like pounding the prices into the dirt, like, you know, reprint Tunic, they reprint Tunic and it goes to $80, and then the rhetoric is, "We'll do it again and make it 40." It's like, no, God, no. That's not how this works. And um and on a positive note, I think LSS knows this, and they are 100% going in the right direction.
100%.
And the evidence is balance of justice
Yes.
and misfail.
Yeah,
So
I think heavy hitters as a whole, that entire set just slapped.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, but I think that pretty much wraps up the rant that turned into everybody rant.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna just let you have the floor, but you got something flowing. You got my brain juices flowing a bit.
I
So,
went for the heartstrings when I started talking about Destiny. I'm sorry, Ted.
ooh, yeah. I literally was just like, keep the mouth closed. Yeah, that if you see me at an event if you see me at Nats or something, and you want to hear my actual thoughts about that topic, I'll let you know.
Yeah,
But that's not for this channel.
no. And with that
Um,
said, thanks everybody. Like, subscribe, click the notification button, use code TCG TED at Findell's Collection.
Yeah. Hmm.
And as always, put your money where your mouth is. Meow, meow, meow.
Peace.
Peace.